highly sensitive people and empaths and people who have been through a lot in life and feel weary and broken in different ways. Parts of them still feel like they need a lot of tending and a lot of patience. Then I'm happy that you're here at this channel so that we can all take a deep breath together and be reminded that we're not alone. Something that many of us have in common on a healing journey or during a spiritual awakening is the idea of self-worth, of worthiness, of just feeling worthy to step into what we want to step into and say what we'd like to say without feeling that there isn't a spot for us to do that. There isn't approval or welcome for our gifts, for our message, for our basically for our unique expression. And so this topic of worth for many of us is not something that we fix overnight, although there are miracles. There are miracles sometimes where we can take big steps up and big leaps in short times. But for the most part, it's like a steady climb. And the most important thing is to not stop climbing. So many of us have had lifetimes, have had incarnations where we have shown up in a big way. And I don't mean, when I say big, I don't mean we were necessarily famous or really financially successful or massive in a massive leadership position. That could be the case. But really just showing up with all of our gifts, all of our expressions, and sometimes special gifts like intuition, high levels of compassion in the face of a lot of hate, just really advanced spiritual gifts. And our soul, which comes with us from life to life, can have memories of us showing up in a big way. And I don't mean memories like we remember the exact story, we remember our exact past life. Maybe some people do. But for the most part, it's a feeling, it's a sense that it's not going to be safe to show up in my unique expression with my unique gifts, because at minimum, I'm not going to be accepted for these gifts. They're not going to be appreciated, or there's no fit for them in my life or in my community. All the way up to you'd been persecuted, tortured, excluded from your community or your society because you were shining in such a bright way with those gifts. So because our soul can remember things that have brought us danger, either socially or physically or both, we can show up with this sense of, it's like a wavering unworthiness that can ride below the surface. And yet, sometimes if we're really honest with ourselves, we know that below that kind of protective, unworthy barrier, that's some nice thunder going on here, beneath this unworthy barrier that holds us back from our next steps of sharing our gifts, there is a wealth of love. There is a wealth of skill. There is a wealth of knowing. There's just a wealth of gifts that really this world needs at such a rough time in history. There's this deep knowing that yes, we are worthy because these gifts have come to us, or we have earned them or developed them in this life or past lives. So the question is, how can we somehow move through this unworthy barrier that's here to access all this? And maybe you've even accessed and you know a lot of what you've got, but you want to bring it forward in some way. And some of us haven't even thought about how to share our gifts and bring them forward to the world because it's too painful or too scary to even think about that. It's just not in our current reality. Another fear of stepping up and accessing that worthiness that's deep down there that we all have. It's our Christ itself, is maybe we've seen how when we've done it even a little bit, it's woken up hatred, jealousy, rejection, separation, or loss in the people around us, in our family, in our community, in our friend group. So if this could be you, if you've had some real big blessing come your way, or you've achieved something pretty substantial and beautiful, and then your circle finds out about it, and various people kind of they ignore what you've said, or pretended that they didn't hear you, or they say something to kind of bring you down a notch. It can be big or small, but you kind of catch the energy of what they're saying, and you realize that this exciting news that you have is really not welcome and not celebrated by these people that are around you. And so then you kind of think, well, if I really do start to develop more in this way, or more in a big way with the gifts that are kind of like hiding down here, what's that going to mean? That's going to mean further separation, and could mean big loss. And because our main need as human beings is, belonging and love, and basically belonging, we don't want to go there. We don't want to go there because it's been painful in the past, even in small ways. And so this video isn't going to give you all of the answers, but the purpose of it is to encourage you to, now it's pouring rain, sunny all day. It's to encourage you to just take a look at this part of your life. To just take a look at the worthy part of your life, and to suggest that your unworthy feelings might not even be fully authentic. They might just be kind of like a guardrail that's holding you back from reaching into what you have to share in this world. And again, this is not necessarily something that makes you, really big in social media or rich or any of these things, although that's definitely could be. These are things where you are bringing something that's very unique that the world needs right now. It could be a healing gift, it could be an artistic gift, it could be a writing gift, or maybe you're comfortable with working with those things on a very small scale. Maybe you create art just for yourself, or maybe you just do really beautiful journaling and bring forth a lot of insights. But then this barrier of unworthy comes in, and you don't share those things. Maybe you don't want people to think that you're being egoic and a show off, and I promise you, you're probably not. So the question for you today is, do I feel unworthy to bring forth the next greatest part of myself and share that for the encouragement and the beauty and the upliftment of this world? And if I didn't have those people around me that might be unsupportive, if I didn't have this unworthy barrier that's just kind of hanging out here and holding me back, and I was living in kind of like a dream world, but I had the same gifts, I had the same ideas, what would I want my life to look like if it was completely safe for me and I wouldn't fail, and even if something less than average showed up when I tried to do it, that would be totally okay. In this dream world, what would the unique version of me look like? What would he or she be doing with their time? What would the environment or the home look like? What types of people with what kind of qualities would be around? And what gifts would be being shared? What would I be doing with my hands? What would I be doing with my voice? What would I be creating? And what would I do with those things? Where would they get shared? Who could be encouraged or helped by those things in this beautiful dream world? And you don't have to even answer these questions for yourself in this moment. You could take it to journaling or take it to your meditation. But when we have even a small picture of what that self could look like in the world, bringing forth what is actually in us down here, what we were born with to bring forth, just having that vision sends out into the environment, sends out into the universe, sends out into the helping spirits of God a call for assistance and inspiration. Assistance to give us what we need, the courage, the opportunities, the new friends that will help us, that will come alongside us and encourage us to start taking those steps. Because I promise you, if you are highly sensitive, if you are an empath, if you have been through the ringer in life, you're in a perfect position. You're in an amazing spot to bring forth something that you have learned along the way, because I know that you've learned plenty. One of my teachers, Michael Maciel, he said in a beautiful little writing, "How were you hurt?" Chances are the person you're talking with has been hurt too. If you allow them their pain, it will diminish, and so will yours. So empaths and highly sensitive people, and those who have been through a lot, you are showing up with a lot of knowing about what those around you could need, those who are a few steps behind you. And you playing a little bit bigger in your life really might just mean you're reaching out a supportive hand in a creative way to someone who is a few steps behind you, or a few people that are a few steps behind you. Because there are people looking for you. They're not looking for a perfect person to be supported by or to learn from. They're looking for someone who has been hurt too, and who has moved through that initial phase and has something to bring back, that has something to offer. I'm a huge fan of the Gnostic Gospels, writings that did not get included in the main Bible that we know. And in the Gospel of Thomas, in verse 70, a writing of Jesus Christ is that if you bring forth what is within you, what you will bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you. I'm going to read it one more time because this is a really important piece. If you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you. And there are even stories of people there are stories of people who have really powerful gifts, but they have felt very unworthy to bring them forth into the world. Specifically, there's a term called shamanic illness. And I believe this applies to people who are meant to become shamans or are meant to become healers. But I also think it applies to people, anyone who has special gifts from the divine that they aren't bringing forward. And in shamanic illness, people who are not following the call of their life end up getting very sick, getting very ill with all kinds of problems. And those illnesses and problems don't go away until they start to really follow their calling, until they take that next step. So if you are, like many of us, feeling really unworthy and frightened about sharing and coming out with something that the world needs, I just want you to know that you're not alone in feeling like that, and that there are legitimate reasons why you would feel unworthy based on things that have happened to you, things that have been said to you, people who have not understood or accepted those gifts, not because there's something wrong with your gifts, but because there's something right with your gifts. Sometimes people can see the bright light in you and it frightens them because they don't feel like they're that close to their bright light. They don't feel like they're that close to their gifts. And so when they see something emerging in you or you accomplishing something, they want to hold you back or make you feel less than so that you don't kind of shine too bright and make them look like they're not shining at all. And that can be, again, frightening to have separation from, especially people who are close by you. It could be even a family member. For some of us, it's even been a parent. And these are really, really deep wounds. You know, if you've had a narcissistic parent or a narcissistic sibling that has really kind of caused these kind of wounds when you've shown up in all of your beauty with all of your gifts. So you are worthy, and you know it. There's a deep part of you, the Christed part of you, that knows it. That there's this set of worthiness, these gifts, this unique expression that wants to come out in this lifetime. You're not alone. And even though it's really scary, I invite you to join the rest of us who are catching our breath and deciding that we are going to start looking for our worth and start envisioning that future self, and then trusting and allowing that all the help, all the encouragement, all the opportunities that are needed for us to access this stuff and bring it forward to the world, all that help is coming to us.